Will Trump be dressed in all orange, sitting in the can, and winning the presidential election? Unbelievable. Pedro Lopez, the monster of the Andes himself, where people think he's the most prolific serial killer of all from South America. Foreigners get locked up abroad in like Latin America or Africa or Asia or somewhere. Not
Yeah,
good. Because you might get away with it at the beginning. A lot of guys do. But eventually, it's a small world, small circles. People
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
It's going to bite you and get you back. This
yeah,
angry populist message, the little person has to come together. We've been wrong. And you see some of that, obviously, in Russia with Putin, and a little
yeah.
bit here in the United States, and a little bit all the part with nationalism, fascism throughout Europe, right? History tends to repeat itself. So you got to have a good moral compass. You got to get prepared because it's not worth losing your freedom, shaming your name, shaming your family, and shaming yourself.
Please welcome returning guest, the legendary Ignacio Esteban. He's an author, activist, retired ATF agent. Good afternoon, man.
Hey, man. Well, good evening to you, right?
Yeah,
Good,
good
good
morning to
morning.
you.
Good morning for me. Good evening to you.
How
12
are
hour
you?
time difference. It's crazy. I remember that crossing the international date line. You're losing the day when I went back in 1990 out there. I need to do a
Yeah,
trip back to Australia this time. I think I said before, I would love to
yeah,
take my family. I would love to go to down under, right? I enjoyed my
yeah,
time out there and maybe also visit New Zealand and go back and see some more of the South Pacific islands. I love
yeah.
going. I enjoyed my time in Fiji also. And maybe this time I go Bora Bora or something. Who knows?
Yeah, travel around, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, if you're gonna make the trip, you got to at least stay a month.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it's
uh,
a long flight for you.
oh my gosh, I remember then, and I was on the East Coast just to get to California. It took me like 6, 7 hours, and then you got to fly
Yeah.
to. We were lucky we went to Qantas, and it took us 13 hours from LA to Auckland. That's
Wow.
the longest flight I've ever. Oh, so
Yeah,
yeah, you got to make it worth your time. But people home in the U.S. and or wherever, it's definitely worth going out there. And it's been a while, but I definitely want to go back to the down under, enjoy it. I enjoy really the Aussie culture and the people. It was friendly. I stayed in people's homes too, which was pretty cool.
wow.
And I play a lot of tennis out
That's
there.
pretty cool.
And me being a big tennis guy, I love the rich tennis history that
Yeah.
that Australia has. You
Yeah,
know,
some good. We've
yeah,
had some great players there.
oh my gosh, yeah, you had Rod Laver, John Newcomb, obviously, and then of course Patrick Rafter, and then you
Yeah,
had Leighton Hewitt, and then of course Crazy Nick Kyrgios, man. You,
yeah,
you, you just never know how Nick's gonna come out and perform, right?
yeah,
He goes, I love his game when he's on. I play collegiately in tennis and I play semi-pro and I was a teaching pro, so tennis was a big part of my life growing up. And
yeah.
I watch all these guys and I still watch a lot of it. I have a tennis channel and I do watch and I love tennis. Do you play tennis, Thomas?
I've tried to when I was younger, but I'm no good at it. I wish.
That's not your thing. It's a
No.
sport that you have to really work on. And I spent hours and hours, but once you
Yeah,
get really good at it, it's like you got a passion for it. And I know you guys
yeah,
have a lot of grass courts. That's one thing I wish, because
yeah,
when I played out there, I play a lot on grass courts.
yeah.
Here in the US, you don't have too much grass courts. So
Oh
it's mostly
wow.
hard courts and clay courts. So I found that to be pretty cool out there in Australia. So
Yeah,
I definitely got to make a trip out there and I'll let you know.
yeah. I didn't know that. I thought they'd all be the same.
Yeah, no, it's very different. You don't get a lot of grass courts out here in the US. It's hard and to keep them up and everything else. And it's kind of difficult, but you do see it's easy to compete with hard court. So we do
Yeah.
have a lot of hard courts out here. That's for sure. I play a lot of hard court tennis, that's for sure. So a lot going on, man,
Nice.
since last time. I think last time I was on your show was what, about 6 months ago or so?
Yeah, world's changed again.
I know we've done quite a few. I think this is like number 6 or 7.
Yeah,
And I enjoy your shows, man. I see you're having some great guests on, funny comedians, interesting rapper. And I think the last one we did was we talked about Tupac, right?
yeah.
And
Tupac, that's
and the
right.
rest, Kiffy D, and the trial. Last time we supposed to be in June, right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It got pushed. It got pushed now until November.
yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I think, like I said before, I'll make a comment again. He talked himself into these arrests.
yeah,
If he would have kept quiet about it, not written a book about it, not done all those shows, right?
yeah,
He was all you go all over, you type in his name, Kiffy D. It's amazing the stuff he says
yeah,
about providing the gun, getting the payback, shooting, being there, leaving, and then staying the night. and having some drinks and laughing about it, and then
Yeah.
going back to Compton.
Yeah. It's
You know what
insane.
surprised me? That it took that long to make an arrest. 26 years.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable what happened. But at least, let's see what happens with they finally solved it. And but most of the
Yeah.
other guys are dead already,
Yeah.
right?
It's like too late.
Orlando Anderson is dead. The other guys in the
Yeah.
cars are dead. The only one is also alive is Suge Knight, but he said he doesn't want to talk.
Yeah.
That's what he told TMZ. He didn't want to talk. He was almost killed, even though his guy was murdered by these guys.
Yeah. It still doesn't want to help.
Awful, awful. So if you like this conversation, check out that show we talked about that with
Yeah.
Tupac and also the book I read, The Bloods, Crips, and the Murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah.
A lot of information out there. Kiffy D in Las Vegas, and he even moves close to Las Vegas. He
Yeah.
shames them into it. He moves
Yeah.
to Henderson, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
shames them into arresting him. He talks about it the whole time, and he writes a book about it.
Yeah.
What can you do?
No, no, yeah, they had to do something.
Yeah.
Now
Hopefully
Diddy's
they
in
get.
trouble as well.
Hopefully they arrest. Yeah, I think yeah, Sean Combs, P
Yeah.
Diddy. Yeah, he's in big trouble.
Yeah.
You don't get HSI, Health and Human DHS, Department of Homeland Security, the feds to do two major search warrants in his residence in Miami and LA if they don't got
Yeah.
good, strong, probable cause in his cases there for allegedly trafficking in minors and
Yeah.
involved in other things going on there. I think him settling like a 50 cent sentence, you settle one, here they come.
Yeah.
And a lot more lawsuits coming out of the woodwork for him and more allegations, not only from women, but from men too
Yeah.
because I guess he played both ways, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot interesting coming out on P Diddy and what happened there. So keep an eye for that. I think when you do such a big operation, my experience has been, well, there's smoke, there's
Yeah.
fire, they got probable cause, they got
Yeah.
evidence from his homes and his computers, his cell phones, everything else. I expect arrests to be made soon.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'll panic and try to leave the country. I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's got the money too.
He can try.
Yeah.
He can try. But we'll see. You know how the U.S. government, Department of Justice, man, they,
Yeah.
they have everywhere. They have the
Yeah.
tentacles everywhere. They'll be able
Yeah.
to find them and see what
Yeah.
happens. So
Definitely.
I think that's another case to look at, and also the tragic death of Biggie Smalls, Christopher
Yeah.
Wallace, right?
Yeah.
That's been going on for 26 years also, and never solved that murder.
Nothing.
It's just funny that Kiffy D was also there at that murder scene,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He's
He was
connected to both
yes.
people somehow.
Yes, he was there at the after night party
Yeah.
that he was also killed. So I
At that
find that interesting.
museum.
Yeah. And then what was a real target him or was
Yeah.
it really P. Diddy? Because he
Yeah.
was in the suburban behind him, right?
That's right.
And they
Yeah.
had that rivalry going on. So a lot of interesting factors going on there if you guys are interested in that. So I talked about that in my book there. So check that out too. And check out our last show. We had some pretty cool shorts you did about all that stuff that
Yeah.
did really well. So hats off to
Definitely
you,
gonna
Thomas,
get
for
some
that.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a big story, especially when that trial comes back. It's gonna be huge. It's back
Yeah.
again,
Oh,
and
my
watch
goodness.
and watch and you hear me watch P Diddy. He's getting arrested. You don't spend that kind of resources, money, that kind of without having some good witnesses. You have good evidence coming out and serious allegations, and he's already in the civil court settled.
Yeah.
Not good,
Yeah.
not good,
It
dude.
doesn't look good for him.
No, man. So I've been, like I said, I've been involved, and we are talking a little bit before we started the show. Yeah, I did the books, right? I had
Yep.
retired about 3 years. I've been also doing a lot of these articles that have been getting published,
Yep.
and a lot of stuff been going on in the news. Obviously, recently, what an embarrassment since we're talking about celebrities with
Yep.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
The Raging Bull himself, the Godfather. He had so many iconic roles, right? The
Yep.
Untouchables, Al Capone. He plays in the Godfather, the mobsters, right? He
Yep.
goes in there and does so many, so many, so many. I mean, he just recently The Irishman, right?
Yeah.
Right? All
With
the guys,
Al Pacino. Yeah.
Al Pacino and Joe Pesci, which I
Yep.
think is it's a great movie. I haven't seen it, but I just don't. I can't look at him the same anymore. And I think after his remarks, I think actors should stay with acting,
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
and let the politicians deal with politics, right?
Yep.
And if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube
100%.
or go online, go type in Robert De Niro's rant in front of the courthouse. just where the jury's deliberating with Trump's case out of Manhattan,
Yeah.
and stuff he says pretty much. He says, "I grew up in New York City. It's a disgrace," and he pretty much used that kind of accent. And he says he's a buffoon. Democracy is going to be destroyed. It will perish. He will become a tyrant, a dictator. I said, bro, he was already president once.
Yeah.
This is, and he knows his second term, and he's already in his 80s or going to be in his 80s,
Yeah.
right? He's not going to last. He'll do his 4 years and he'll be done, and
Yeah.
that's all. And I think he was way out of line, and people were booing him. They're saying you're washed up, you're done. It's like the backlash that had with they had with Bud Light
Yeah.
when they had that transgender person come in, and
Yeah.
there was some backlash on that. I think and you see all the memes with now De Niro dressed like a woman. The same thing with the back.
Yeah.
He's he's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think people are gonna watch his stuff ever again, and that's what I put in there. I think he did his career a disservice.
Yeah. He should have
He,
stayed out of it.
he should have stayed out of it. It's embarrassing. And don't try to influence. And he was there for political reasons because the Biden
Yeah.
administration asked him.
Yeah.
That's that was kind of messed up on their part, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
that he gets involved in politics. He's trying to influence the juries in some way or the people in some way. Let them vote, let them decide. Obviously, New York City is very blue. You know how the U.S. is very blue and red.
Yeah.
There's the blue Democratic areas,
Yeah.
and a lot of people see this as a political witch hunt against Trump in a very blue area, which is a case. To be honest, this is the article that got picked up by a lot of people. Even a 34 count conviction cannot
Yeah.
stop the Trump train.
He can
It
still
cannot.
go.
He's getting even more. They get try to convict him with another case. He's going to put him over the top because people just see this. I mean, this case happened allegedly. Don't know what he got convicted on. Allegedly, it's a paper violation for paying off Stormy Daniels, a porn star, hush
Yeah.
money to be quiet. Allegedly, they had an affair, right?
Yeah.
And he had Michael Cohen's attorney involved. A cast of characters that changed and flip flopped their stories. If he was Donald Smith,
Yeah.
Thomas, Donald Nobody,
Yeah.
right? Not the former president. You think the district attorney's office out of Manhattan wasted their time and effort and resources on this kind of investigation happened 7 years ago or longer?
Yeah.
Answer is no.
No way. Yeah.
This is political. This is Trump, but it backfired because look how the backlash people know because people saw and said this is nonsense. Now the question is July 11th,
Yeah.
which is his sentencing date for Trump. The
Wow.
world's watching. Is he going to put him in jail?
Yeah.
Or is he going to just give him house arrest? Or just say, okay, that's done. You were convicted, get no
Yeah.
time. If he's smart, because he's the front runner for the Republican, he's going to be the nominee for the Republican Party,
Yeah.
right? He has significant lead against Biden.
Yeah.
I think you just give him house arrest, if anything. If he incarcerates him,
Yeah.
I think that just puts a lead. It's over. Can
Yeah.
you imagine he wins the election incarcerated?
That'll be history right there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Because it's and I think it solidifies, and I'm talking politics. This is fascinating stuff here, and I've written about it. And people in Australia, like maybe or whoever around the world watching, don't know what's going on. But the
Yeah.
2024, and I think I've said it before, I think last year I said in one of your shows and other shows, this is going to be a fascinating,
Yeah.
fascinating election.
Yeah.
Fascinating election.
It's gonna be
And
yeah, different.
yeah, it's crazy. And then on top of that, I mean, talking about the week, you had the former president convicted. And then you had the president sitting president's son
Hunter.
also convicted, Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, back-to-back convictions. And this is the first of two trials for Hunter Biden, the president's only son. The other son had passed away from brain cancer, Bo Biden. And this was unbelievable. If you don't know what happened to Hunter Biden, he unfortunately, if you go online and you check the videos, he has for years had a major crack addiction.
Yeah.
Thomas. He suffered from crack cocaine, regular cocaine, other things, and he really couldn't cope with it. And he went in 2017, 2018 to buy a weapon, very dangerous.
Yeah.
And these are the cases ATF does. Some of the cases, I did a lot of cases, but this is some of them where you go to what we have here, like a gun shop, an FFL, a
Yeah.
federal firearms licensee. You got to go and fill out this form, and you got to be truthful. You got to give your name. You can't be a convicted felon. You can't be a drug user, drug addict. You can't have a domestic battery conviction. You can't have a restraining order, right?
Yeah.
All these things you got to be truthful. If you lie on it, you can get up to 10 years,
Oh,
up to 10 years federal prison because you're lying to get a weapon. A weapon's serious. Like we all know that. We have
yeah.
laws here. You have to respect it. He lied about it. He obviously was using, he had an addiction. He got the
Yeah.
weapon. And this is what where it's a strange part of this case is that he gets this revolver, he has it. He's having a his girlfriend was his former sister-in-law.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange within itself.
Yeah.
His his brother had passed away from cancer, and a few months later, his former sister-in-law becomes his girlfriend,
Yeah.
and she testifies that in trial that he got hooked on crack cocaine also. He was addicted. He
Yeah.
saw his drug use and all that. So he's not really that the guy's not well for doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And she was nervous with the gun in the car, and because he has mental health, she thought he was going to hurt himself or do something to others. So she
Yeah.
dumped the gun in a dumpster or a trash bin in a public area in Delaware, right?
Holy.
And,
Yeah.
and he freaks out and he says, "You can't just dispose a gun like that. It's registered to me under my name. It's going to come back to me. You need to find that gun."
Yeah.
So she tries to go back in and she testifies to all this in trial. She has to go back and find she couldn't find it. They said, "Well, you better call the police and come up with a story and tell them what we need to do." Police looked for it and they found it, you know where?
Man.
With a homeless person, Thomas. The gun was recovered with a homeless person, that little dumpster diving and searched the trash
Found the
and
gun.
had at least the weapon was not loaded,
Yeah.
but it was found. But you know what? That could have been ugly. You could
Yeah.
find some ammunition or something else, or you can try to rob somebody. You don't
Take
know. You
some.
can't really tell. Someone's at night or dark.
Yeah.
So he was convicted on all counts being a drug user, an addict, possession of a firearm, lying on the ATF form 4473 on there,
Mm.
and he was convicted on all counts. He is looking up to 20 years. The question becomes, Thomas, will his dad pardon him?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
That's a question. Is he going to risk it before the election, which can be damaging,
Yeah.
right? Which is early November, or does he let Junior sit in the can for a little bit,
Yeah.
learn your lesson, and then after election, either way, what happens? If I
Yeah.
win, I got one more term. I have to run again for office again. If I
Yeah.
lose, it's over anyways, and then I pardon Junior
Yeah.
after after the election.
Yeah. Either way, he's gonna get him out.
I think he's going to wait until if whatever he's going to do, he's going to wait until after. He's going to
Yeah.
maybe sit in the camp for a little bit, let him learn his lesson. He's got to straighten his game up a little bit. But you know
Yeah.
what's funny, Thomas? That's first of two trials for him.
Yeah.
He's convicted in this one. The one that starts, I think, the following week, it's on tax evasion. He
Wow.
hadn't filed taxes in years, and he owed back over $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So he's what they call here a soup sandwich.
Yeah.
Right? A soup sandwich, a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a soup sandwich, man. He's an
Wow.
absolute mess. He's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bringing his
and where
dad
do you get that
down.
money from? You
Yeah.
guys are cracking, right? He has
Yeah.
addiction problems, right? Well, that was tied in to the whole scandal, remember, about the
Oh,
pay to play scheme,
yeah.
access to his father, who was vice president with the Ukrainians, with the Chinese. I
Yeah.
mean, he has no experience in the energy sector
Yeah.
and other than his experience is his old man.
Yeah.
That's his experience, and that's his contact. That's his
Yeah.
gravy train. I
Yeah.
feel bad for Pops that he has to deal with that guy.
Yeah. All the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the guy's in his mid-50s.
That's
That's awful.
crazy. Yeah.
Awful, awful. So historical convictions back to back. Former president, and then after that, the son of a sitting president.
Yeah.
Both different parties, Republican and Democrats. So I mean, it's that you need good quality. I always say it's important to have a good moral compass,
Yeah.
because if you don't have a good moral compass, if you go into politics and in law enforcement or what have you, I don't know if I tell you the story of ATF undercover or not. When I know it's been, I think I did 2 years ago when it first came on your show, and when I first got into law enforcement, and I was with I started with U.S. Customs,
Yeah.
right, at a MIA, Miami International Airport. It was the mid 90s, and that's when the Medellin Cali cartels were thriving before the Mexican cartels. This is before the collapse of Escobar and these guys. And because of course El Chapo Guzman and these guys would take over, and
Yeah.
the cartels in Mexico will go through the southwest border was easier. Then at that time they were pumping the drugs through Florida, right? It was faster to load up 747s from Colombia into MIA to come in because the corruption was enormous with the ramp
Yeah.
workers, with the guys working at the seaport, with longshoremen. But what I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting, the guy in my early 20s, was the corruption within the ranks, was the
Wow.
corruption within customs, right?
Yeah.
And one of my supervisors would be arrested in a major bust. And what he was doing was he was going on the weekends. You had MIA, which is Miami International Airport, huge airport, one of the
Yeah.
biggest coming with cargo and passengers. I think 95% of the flights came from Latin America, okay,
Wow.
into Miami. So that's one of the reasons why I ended up with customs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I spoke Spanish. I had the background, the cultures. I also my father was a gun enthusiast, so I was good at shooting weapons. So
Yeah.
I did well, and I was also very fit because I was a runner, and I also played tennis, and all that stuff helped me become good in the academies and everything else, and worked at a good transition. I think remember I was going to go to law school,
Yeah.
but I decided not to, and it worked out pretty good decision, I think, in my part for my career and everything I
Yeah.
did. So what he was doing, he would go on the weekends or off time with local police officers, I think from Holland and Hollywood Police Department, and they were clear flights. They were coming from Colombia. They were coming into Tamiami Airport, and those who know the area, that's a very small regional airport that takes a lot of private jets coming in. So he would clear the flight when there was nobody there.
Yeah.
It was about maybe 300 some pounds of cocaine, clear it in there. These guys would escort it, have a van full of it, and go to a warehouse for distribution.
Wow.
So he's pretty much become a major trafficker, and
Yeah.
he knows the flights, the patterns, who's working what. You have an insider. The cartels had an insider, a
Yeah.
major insider within customs, within our ranks. Little they know that internal affairs had it wired, and they were watching them. So they had it all videotaped. So I remember a month later, Thomas, watching these guys, and they had them handcuffed,
Yeah.
right? Belly chain and leg irons. And talk about getting your attention. It's like, look at this. And later,
Yeah.
others would get arrested like that too. And they would parade them through the concourse. And everybody, all the customs guys will look and say, man,
Yeah.
that guy messed up bad. Was it worth
Yeah.
it? Was
Crazy.
it worth your freedom? I can tell you one thing, it was never worth my freedom, Thomas.
Yeah.
I would never risk it. Obviously, my freedom means too much to me. Give him 15, 20 years and shame your name, shame your
Yeah.
family, everything else,
That's
disgraced.
good. Yeah.
Tainted badges. That's what I
Well,
call that. Tainted badges, disgraced. Disgrace. So that leads me to another situation. I know you mentioned community activist.
yeah.
So I'm also working, which I got involved through this my PR firm, Transmedia Group, that's been helping me and promoting and working with out of Boca.
Yeah.
Tom Madden, the former vice president of NBC, who founded this company in Boca back in the early '80s, and I'm also working with his daughter, who's the president of the company, Adrian Mazzoni, and they got me involved with this case, which I found it interesting on Lamar Burks. And all indications is possibly a wrongful murder conviction that happened in the late '90s out of Houston.
Mm.
And the biggest factor behind it, and reason why I got involved, because of my experience, I had to interview with William. You're not William Steele and I do a weekly show together.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for almost, I think, a year and a half, 2 years. I'm about a year and a half, and it's about true crime, current events. And we had on there the former United States Attorney from the Eastern District of Louisiana that covers New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a big player. That's a big player. That's at the top prosecutor out of New Orleans. Okay,
Yeah.
he gave us information that brought to our attention about a dirty DEA agent named Chad Scott and his corruption and his work that he had on a case called Rap-A-Lot with a supervisor he worked with called Schumacher, Jack Schumacher. And what happened to them and what they did was pretty much railroad this guy, what appears. All indication is with the evidence. And the actual shooter testifies a witness against Burks, became an informant for DEA.
Wow.
He became an informant for DEA, right?
Yeah.
And other witnesses who testified say they were coerced in testifying and said that Burks wasn't even there. The guy they railroaded wasn't even there. He was in Louisiana in a wedding with his sister with pictures, but he wasn't allowed to put a good defense on.
Yeah.
So I'm getting involved in this whole situation, Lamar Burks. The United States Attorney is writing a op-ed piece for the Houston Chronicle out there, try to see if this guy can get a second trial, a fair
Yeah.
trial.
Yeah.
and bring out the evidence what's going on because he's already done 25 years. Can you imagine doing 25 years for a murder you never committed?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a rapper. He ran a rap company, and he had guys. These guys worked for him, but they became this guy Whitaker became an informant allegedly, and testified to allegedly he's the shooter,
Yep.
and he's testifying against somebody else, pointing the finger that no, you're the murderer, not me.
Yeah.
And he's working with this guy Chad Scotts. Chad Scotts gets convicted back a few years back out of New Orleans uh, for serious violations, and he gets
Mm.
like 13 years. So for lying, obstruction, also stealing, all these things are in there in the indictment. So this is a serious case. So I'm kind of
That's
glad.
everything.
Yeah. So I'm helping out with this cause right here to see if we can
Yep.
get Lamar a new chance in life. Because I couldn't imagine doing 25 years something I never did.
Yeah. That's incredible. It's certainly nothing to do with it, and someone's just pointing the finger while they're working with someone dirty.
They're dirty. Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and that's one thing I saw early. And I said, you
Yep.
have to have, I brought this back together because you have to have a good moral compass.
Yep.
And that's not just in law enforcement. I think anything you do in life, if you're in politics, you're in business, if you don't have that, you tend to want to get predisposed to do bad things. And then it's a sliding curve. All of a sudden, it goes from bad to worse, and there's no recovery. There's no
Yep.
recovery.
Yeah. You
It's,
need to do the right thing.
I think that's a good message. You got to have a good moral compass. You got to get prepared because it's not worth losing your freedom, shaming your name, shaming your family, and shaming yourself. I think that's a
Definitely.
good message for anybody because you might get away with it at the beginning.
Yep.
Other guys do, but eventually it's a small world, small circles. People
Yep.
talk.
Yep.
It's going to bite you and get you back.
100%.
One way or the other.
Everything
It's not,
comes
it doesn't
back
matter where
around.
you live. You live in Australia or if you live in the United States, you live in Europe, South America, wherever, it all comes back. And it's the same game people play. If you're in the drug game, if you're in the game of stealing, cheating, it all comes back and bites you in the ass because there's somebody that
Mm.
always gets arrested
Yep.
that's going to cooperate, that's going to point the fingers, and they're going
Yep.
to come back and make the case on you.
Oh,
So it's going to come
100%.
back.
Yep.
Yeah. In the federal system, 90% in the United States, 95% of people cooperate because
Yep.
it's beneficial for them to cooperate.
Yeah. They don't want to do that extra time.
Oh no, nobody in their
No.
right mind wants to do extra time. The
No.
whole mafia omerta thing
Yep.
that we people talk about, right? That you don't snitch, right? They all snitched.
Yeah.
Look at Sammy the Bull, right?
Yep.
Like he's a celebrity going around. How much he informed on Gotti, right?
Yep.
Took down the whole helped take down the Gambino crime family, right?
Everything. He took it. Yeah.
Yeah, the racketeering cases, those enormous, enormous, and the biggest emphasis is that people cooperated
Yep.
against each other. There was no silence. There was none of that. That went out the
No.
window. No, that went out the window. That's why I wrote one of my books there, The Fall of the Italian Mafia in the United States and the Rise of the Mexican Cartels.
Yep.
That's what we see here. They've been decimated, but
Yep.
because of mass corruption, I think I've
Yep.
said in other shows, mass corruptions within Mexico. And look what happened now. And I wrote an article about this. United States is really sandwiched between two socialist nations.
Oh, yeah.
You have Trudeau in Canada, and now we have, which is unbelievable, we had Lopez Obrador. They elected, which is great. They elected the first woman Jewish president, right, in
Yep.
Mexico. Claudia Sheinbaum just won the
Yep.
election, but she's pretty much handpicked by Lopez Obrador, but she's an ultra socialist.
Yep.
She's a leftist. So it's going to be the same failed policies where they're doing nothing with the cartels. They feel
Yep.
like, hey, hugs for thugs mentality. Let them do their thing because at least we don't want to be like Calderon was and start
Yep.
this engulfed war with the cartels, which they really can't handle because of corruption. They buy everybody. So
Yep.
the United
They got
States,
the money.
Thomas, doesn't have a fair partner in the
Yep.
war on drugs. We don't. Is Latin
No.
America is corrupt and what's going on in Mexico. I think she's going to be very soft on crime. I
Yep.
think she's going to expand the welfare state. She's going to expand things that are not. Lopez Obrador went on 60 Minutes, a very popular show, and here in the United States, I think in Australia too. It was
Yeah,
one
it's big.
60
Yeah.
Australia, And he said if the United States wants Mexico to do more with illegal immigration and do more with drugs, they got to pay us more.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a shakedown.
Yeah.
It's an absolute shakedown. What he was saying,
Yeah.
and how many more billions, and not just us, but also in Central America and South America. And don't be so
Yeah.
hard with Nicolas Maduro.
Yeah.
Really, Maduro, who's been indicted, narco terrorist,
Yeah.
right? He's a major drug trafficker with the FARC, which has now changed names, but regardless, they're still pumping all the drugs. And he was caught on the wire saying, cocaine is great because it's going to be weaponized against the U.S., Canada, the Europeans, and other places, so they can fall like a rotten apple. Yeah, we're granted we do have our share, and I agree that part is a problem, but
Yeah.
people should get the treatment and help they need, right?
Oh,
And
100%.
because I think if they drop the war on drugs, let's say people stop using drugs, the cartels don't go away because
No,
they're involved in a lot of other things,
it'll be
and
something
between
else.
extortion, kidnapping, see, they're tough, and with all the weakness and corruption, they can't even, which is so sad. They can't even. They had El Chapo Guzman,
Yep.
not once, not twice, but three times escape, hide
Yep.
in the Sinaloa Mountains, right? And then
Yep.
have Sean Penn and Kate de Castillo do an interview, right,
Yeah.
for Rolling Stone magazine.
It's crazy.
What a joke!
How
What
corrupt.
a joke! And if you ever, I don't know if you ever read that article or saw what Sean Penn said about that.
Yeah.
This guy pretty much bragged that he killed over 2,000 people himself.
Yeah.
That's the only way you climb an organization like that. You got to be a killer
Yeah.
right
You
from the
gotta.
beginning.
Yep.
You got to kill and kill a lot, and then when you get on top, you got order law executions. That's how these
Yeah.
monsters get away. Like we were talking a little about Hitler, right?
Yep.
I think we're both watching the show with Hitler and the Nazis, the evil on trial in Nuremberg.
Yep. It's yeah. That's crazy how you see so many people in the one spot doing the same thing. It's blows my mind. Like all those guys on trial, how did they all get together and pull off such like a evil acts?
It's amazing how people got together and they
Yep.
they pretty much said the top said, "Hey, the Jews are the problem.
Yep.
They're the reason we lost the First World War. The socialist leftist Jews caused these problems because they were humiliated after World War I. They
Yep.
really were beaten badly,
Yep.
and Germany was punished. They were broken up and they were punished, and Hitler fed on that."
Yep.
That national popular, you know what Hitler was? You saw the first two episodes.
Yeah.
He was a frustrated artist from Vienna,
Yeah. Imagine if they
right?
had just supported his art dream.
He wouldn't have been this angry Nazi.
Yeah.
That's what he is, was an angry Nazi. That
Yep.
and that little party, you saw how he joined that little party? He was really there
Yep.
working for the military after, oh, what was he in World War One? He was just a runner,
Yeah.
a
Running
corporal.
messages.
Yeah, he was a corporal, just running back and forth. That's all he was. He
Yep.
did 4 years. He survived an injury, almost was killed. He comes out, and then he starts with this propaganda, this rise.
Yep.
Look how we're getting treated, the oppression. He feeds into the angry, and I'm coming to a point with this
Yep.
angry populist message. The little person has to come together. We've been wronged, and you see some of that obviously in Russia with Putin, and a little
Yep.
bit here in the United States and a little bit other part with nationalism, fascism throughout Europe, right? History tends to repeat itself.
Yep.
And to see how angry and everything else, he was a little man from no means, right? He was
Yep.
struggling in Vienna. He wasn't
Yeah.
even German, right? He
Yeah.
was Austrian. He was Austrian,
Yeah.
but he wanted to be part of that German cause, and he went into the war as in the Bavarian army, passing for being Bavarian,
Yeah.
which he wasn't, which I thought that was fascinating.
I
And
didn't
then
know that
he
before then.
yeah, and then he enters that little party, right? He's there working for the army. He comes back and he said, "Hey, listen, start listening to what you're hearing." And he quits the army and he joins this little party, which is called you remember the name correctly, the Socialist Nationalist Socialist People's Party, right?
Yeah.
But he put nationalists first because they
Yeah.
didn't want to be to the left. We're going to be to the right,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
the right they went, hard right,
Yep.
extremists, fascists. And all of a sudden, a part of their whole thing was a final solution, which was awful. In
Yeah.
Himmler, and you'll see
He was
how
bad.
they
Yeah.
they said they didn't want to even shoot. This is awful, awful, awful. And this is why people should learn from history. The
Yeah.
Nazis didn't want to spend their rounds on the Jews. First of all, it was too time consuming and expensive. So they
Yep.
want to be efficient in killing Jews. So they start with the gas chambers, right? Extermination, mass extermination.
Yep.
This is why, and those pictures, I haven't seen some of these, and when
Yep.
you colorize them, right? And they really did a good job in this series here.
It's
It is
terrible.
shocking and appalling,
Yep.
appalling what happened. Shocking and appalling. So I think good for people to watch these shows because some of the younger generation, Thomas, have no
Yep.
idea how appalling the Nazis really were, how become these
Oh,
monsters.
yep.
I think he would have, and going back to capitulating, Chamberlain and the British failed to understand the nationalism, fascism, how Hitler not just wanted to unify all Germans, because he
Yep.
walked pretty much back into Austria and they took it over like nothing.
Yep.
They wanted to be part of Germany. Okay, that was easy for him. But
Yep.
how easily he took over the Czechoslovakia, right, in the
Yeah.
name of unification was shocking. And I think
Yeah.
once you capitulate, if we were to capitulate to Putin with Ukraine,
Yep.
he goes into Romania and Poland again.
Yeah.
That
He'd just keep going.
he keeps
Exact
going.
same.
And then when you attack NATO, then it's going to be on. It's going to be
Yep.
nuclear war. Things are different now with nuclear weapons. It would add to it. Now they have it too, but I think we're a lot more prepared than they are, and the Russians are a mess. They're still struggling with
Yep.
Ukraine, and
Yeah.
that says a lot about them. That
Yep.
says a lot about them and what's going on with them.
Yeah. It's gone a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, over 2 years
Yeah.
and
That's
counting. It's like a stalemate. I think if Trump wins,
Yep.
I think we come up with some sort of settlement peace accord, but it has to be fair. And I hate to see Putin steal any land he doesn't deserve,
Yep.
right?
I think
I
they'll
mean,
give him something like
yeah, yeah, I don't think he deserves that at all. But
yeah.
we'll see how it happens. Just like with Gaza, right? With
Yeah.
Hamas and the
Yep.
Israelis, it's going to go close to a year soon with this war with Hamas, and it's really messy. And
Yep.
what I hate to see politicians from foreign countries who are Jewish trying to
Yep.
influence. Talk about the United States. You had a
Yep.
high-ranking Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer want to influence having elections and get rid
Yep.
of Bibi Netanyahu. And I said,
Yeah.
let the Israeli people decide what they want. That's up to them.
Yeah.
And try to stay out of their own politics, right? If they want to try and eliminate Hamas, go for it. Destroy Hamas. They
Yeah.
want a peace accord to work things out. They have to do something. But
Yep.
you kind of see those kind of trends all over the war. And I think people don't want to see endless war because the U.S. pays helps. You probably know Israel's an ally, Ukraine's an ally. I
Yep.
think we spent over $200 billion to Ukraine so far. That's a lot.
That's
And
crazy.
and and with Israel, I think it's close to 60 billion.
Yep.
One, it's a small nation, so it's a lot of money, and people start asking questions. How
Yep.
much
What?
longer? What's going on here? What's the end game here?
Yep.
Because it does impact our country here as a whole. That's one thing of being a superpower.
Yep.
You're involved in everything,
Yeah.
and does influence a lot in the
All around the
world, and
world.
all around the world, all around the world. What's going
Yep.
on? How things work out. So I found that series fascinating,
Yep.
fascinating. I think people should look at Nuremberg trial and look at most of those guys were convicted
Yep.
and executed. They were hung.
Yeah.
And you see the video. I never saw those videos. They're all hung. You
Mm.
see them afterward. You will get to the end. You really I recommend definitely watching. I think it's only 6 episodes, about an hour each,
Yeah.
6 hours. Well worth your time. Well worth
Oh,
watching it.
definitely.
People who love history learn from it because you tend to repeat itself. Everything comes back. But I think the lesson you have to learn, you can't capitulate. Chamberlain's capitulation to Hitler led to him getting bigger. We can't capitulate to Putin because he would
Yeah.
just try and be more emboldened. He might have nuclear weapons, but NATO and the United States and our allies who have more. And now I see that Australia is getting a nuclear submarine that the
Yeah.
US and the Brits are going to help because Xi Jinping's another one.
Yep.
You can't capitulate to
He's
these
yeah.
dictators.
He's dangerous.
He's a dangerous guy. I heard, now you tell me it's true or not, that he likes to sabotage internet and shut you guys down out there as much as you can with your Wi-Fi and everything else.
I'm not
You have any
sure. I've
issues?
heard something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and because they don't like the obviously Aussies, Australians are allies of the United States,
Yep. And
and
we're
of
so
course,
close.
yeah,
Yep.
but he does some weird things too with Taiwan, which
Yep.
is wrong too. They have their independence. Obviously, they don't want to be they don't want to be part of the communist
Yeah.
dictatorship part, but he intimidates them all the time,
Yeah.
right?
It's constantly threatening.
Flyovers, having the
Yep.
submarines, awful, awful, awful. So hopefully the Aussies get their nuclear submarine, we can help. I know the French weren't too happy about that
Yeah,
because they thought
there's
they
a
were
lot
going
of
to get a
money.
deal, and
Yeah,
they lost it, but they weren't doing a good job on it. And the Australian leadership decided to move somewhere else, and the U.S. and
yeah,
Britain are going to help with that cause there. Which at the end,
yeah,
it matters just getting the protection because nothing's worse. There's
yeah.
an invasion and you can't defend and protect yourself. And Australia's a big
Oh, it's
country
huge.
continent.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a huge continent, and you got to be able to protect your people. And that's another frustration. And I wrote about this also about the failure of the Biden administration, what I think is will be his downfall, and will be failure to secure our southwest border.
yeah,
He for some reason, he did not want to finish. So he said, not one more inch of the wall will be done. I don't know about you, Thomas,
yeah,
but I have a fence around my property, right?
yeah.
You got to protect your property. How can you now the wall is just one part. You got to secure the wall. You
Yeah,
got it because what's incentive people to come here legally,
yeah,
right? If you go through the system, right, legally, and then all the illegals keep on coming in, pouring in, that's first of all, we had a pandemic,
yeah,
health crisis there, possible terrorists. How many sleeper cells coming in? How
yeah,
many other
yeah.
problems you have? You have to
100%.
secure it. Have to secure the southwest border. You have to secure it. You have to also deport people. You can't give them like you see in New York City with Eric Adams, the mayor out there. Oh, let's give them ATM debit cards with like $1,000 each. Well, that's going to encourage people to come more when you start
Yeah.
doing that. That's what you don't want. It's just very failed liberal
Get
policies.
get paid to come in.
You have to attack the tunnels, illegal tunnels under our country. You have to
Yeah,
go after that. There's a huge tunnel network. You see how big the tunnel network is in Gaza?
yeah, that's crazy.
There's a huge tunnel network on the United States.
Yeah,
And that has to be addressed. The wall has to
yeah,
be addressed. The overstays
has
have to
to.
be addressed. So as you
Yeah,
can see, I've become also very political and involved in a lot of things, a lot of causes there. Um, and one final cause is very personal. I mean, I'm
yeah,
trying to help what I can involve. And I talked a little bit about it, well, about this mega gas station. It's a behemoth called Bucky's. It's a bucktooth beaver. It's a cartoonish bucktooth beaver, right?
yeah,
And it's named after the CEO and founder from the early 80s. His name is Arch Beaver Applin the Third. He's like a Texas billionaire, right? A
yeah,
rich Texas billionaire who's done really well with his franchise. Imagine having a gas station. It's not a normal gas station. It's a gas station with 120 plus gas pumps, 120. You have a convenience store size of a Walmart, and you have close to 1,000 parking spots.
yeah,
Would you want that in your backyard? I don't want that in my backyard. I
yeah,
live in a very nice area and a very residential area. These
yeah,
things are meant to be put out there, let's say off an interstate that's more remote,
yeah,
where it's almost like a oasis in the desert.
yeah,
You come in, you do your business, right? And
yeah,
you head out, but not already in a very nicely off I-95. Those who know the United States, off I-95, very congested. Now, I-95, those who know, is from Miami to New York City. And
yeah,
this is in between. In I-95, you get a lot of undesirables. And what this is going to bring, if they build a behemoth like this with thousands, is a lot of high crime in a very peaceful, tranquil residential area. So what
yeah,
I did is I started a petition, and those who also have a cause or stuff, you can do this anywhere. Go to change.org, change.org. I did it, and mine is called Stop Bucky's from Coming to Stafford. If you want to read
yeah,
it, look at it. You can go by, and I've had almost 1,500 signatures and counting. So I'm
yeah,
hoping to get 2,000. I've been also talking to the board of supervisors here in Stafford County. Many of us have. We've rallied around it to help stop this because they can go somewhere else.
yeah,
It's got a lot of traction from the local media, and even the governor's involved in this. Governor Youngkin. Governor
yeah.
Youngkin, a lot of people think can be the next president 2028.
Well,
So why is a Texas billionaire contributing so much money to a governor out of Virginia?
yeah,
Well, he's done it with Abbott out of Texas because he wants to expand big time in Virginia. Well, you
yeah,
can expand, but Stafford is not the place to do it.
yeah,
And that's a conflict we're fighting. It's going to be health issues. The roads are on school. It's even a school zone, Thomas,
yeah,
not far from it. Do you think we want to have 40,000 plus people? Yeah, people don't know Bucky's. Bucky's has a cult-like following.
yeah,
People will travel hours on end to go to the Beaver
yeah,
just to see the Beaver, the awful Beaver himself. I mean, they have, they have their barbecue. They're big into their barbecue foods and they love their brisket. They love their pulled pork sandwiches. They love doing
Yep.
an omelet sandwich, which is great. I'm not opposed to Buc-ee's, but not here. It doesn't
Yep.
fit well here. It's going to
Yep.
destroy a community. So people are fighting hard and strong. So they need a waiver. Get a little bit in the politics. They need a waiver to get into that certain area because it's too close, and we're fighting them so they don't get that commercial waiver to build there. So
Yep.
I think we have an upper hand on this, and I try to talk about this as much as you can. Everything has a place, and Buc-ee's is not a good fit here. Have you ever seen a gas station that big before?
Nah, never. That's crazy.
Look at the video. Go online later and go check the awful beaver, and you see the video. 120 gas pumps.
Yep.
Imagine a store the size of Walmart for a convenience store
Yeah.
and 1,000 parking spots.
That's crazy.
80,000 square foot. Who wants that? Nobody wants that
No,
in their backyard.
no.
I think people want small moderation. And now, like I said, if it was like near the airport, but guess what?
Yep.
There's an exit just south of where I'm at, right? That has a little regional airport, a lot of space for growth, right?
Yep.
But you know what? Amazon, because we're not far from DC,
Yep.
Amazon and the headquarters in Northern Virginia has built huge warehouses over there. Huge.
Wow.
So they have huge warehouses out there. You know, Amazon said they don't want that there either
Yep.
because it's going to influence with their production and with their
Yeah.
trucks. Do you think we want that? No, we don't want that. So it's a battle. So I'm involved in a lot of things, Thomas. I'm glad you brought me on. Community
Whatever.
activism,
Yeah.
change.org, folks. Change.org. If you have an issue in Australia, if you have an issue, if you're watching anywhere in the world, it gets people's attention. That's a great way to start a petition. It's a good way to start a petition. You can raise money for it, whatever the cause you have. It gets their attention, and it's always growing. And it gives you stats like where most of your signatures coming from, people, their comments. It is a great way for you to
Yeah.
get a topic or a cause, get some attention to it. That's well needed.
Yes.
So I think that's involved is good. So, and one last thing, what a great here's another one here. And in true spirit, I know you have Netflix. Those are
Yeah.
Netflix. This is this home story, a great story. I knew a little bit about it. I remember back, but I was so busy with work. I was working undercover. Those are my undercover years. So
Yeah.
I was really busy when she went around the world.
Yeah.
Jesse Watson, Jessica Watson. What an amazing story with her Ella Pink vessel sailed solo around the world in 7 months. That's an amazing story, but it almost cost her her life, which I didn't realize that her vessel rolled over like 4 times, and one of them went really deep when she was trying to come back to Australia. I
Yeah.
guess according to the documentary or the show, she had to make a decision. Huge storm coming in, right? Does
Yeah.
she end the journey, falls just a little short, or she risked her life? It almost took her life. Her team didn't want her to do it,
Mm.
but she's 16, she's young. There was a lot of controversy about that. Was a 16-year-old too young to sail
Yeah.
solo around the world unassisted? I know
Yep.
she had her sat phone. I know she had some other technology helping her at the time, but it's still
Yes.
tough for a 16-year-old girl to go around the world like that.
It's
That's
huge.
not easy. Some people thought the parents were reckless. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to pass a law to stop her at the time,
Yeah.
according to that, but it fell short. And she made it. She made it, and took her 7 months. But what a hero's welcome she
Yeah.
had in Sydney Harbor.
That's
That's really heartwarming pictures to see that.
yeah.
Even the prime minister was there,
Yeah.
and he said some real kind words to her, and I think her words were, she's an average person with a with ordinary dream. Anybody that has a dream can do it. You just have to believe in yourself, and that was pretty nice of her message, I think. Little tragedy in her life though, I didn't realize that, is that afterwards she met I guess her fiance or a significant other,
Yeah.
and they've been together for 10 years, and he died from like a aneurysm or like a stroke he had. I think he was just 30 years old. So she talks about that because this just recently came out,
Yeah.
her movie. So she's really, you look at her then, you look at her now, obviously people grow and they change and stuff, but
Yeah.
she's been through a lot. So I think True Spirit, if you like a good story like that, makes you feel good, a lot of risks, took a
Yeah.
chance, 16-year-old based on true events. It's almost like a documentary, events, how they walk through it. But she came very close to not making it, right. That storm was nasty. It rolled her vessel like 4 or 5 times over, and one went really deep down. She almost didn't recover from that one.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Scary.
I, Jesse Watson, true spirit, true spirit. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not
Cool.
getting anything to say about it other than I really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
something that I pass on. We talked about stuff we like watching on
Yeah.
Netflix. I think Hitler and the Nazis is worth watching. This
Yeah.
one's worth watching. Have you watched The Watcher?
Watch it. No, I haven't. That's when
That's
they
another good one.
buy the house, hey?
Yes,
Yeah, I've that's on my list.
it's a good one. I just
Yep.
watched it. I
Yep.
watched The Watcher. It has a lot of twists and turns with the letters, the mysterious letters, haunted house,
Yep.
the whole 9 yards,
That's
people
based on
in
a
and
true
out.
story, hey?
It's yeah, I don't know yeah, it's based on, right.
Yeah.
But I think the letters are true. And
Yep.
I'm not sure about the other part there, but well directed and well acted.
Yep.
So I definitely recommend that one also. So the
Definitely.
Netflix has been stepping up, man. They've been having some pretty good stuff on now. So
Yeah,
I've
getting
been
some good
watching more and
wins.
more of it. It kind of gives me more ideas and stuff. So I kind of like it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. They've been doing a lot better than they have been.
Anything else you've been watching that's pretty good?
But I'm watching a movie. I've watched it a few times, but I'm rewatching it. The City of God. It's
Okay.
you gotta check that out. It's like the crime, like the drug dealers in I think Brazil. Or
Oh,
yeah, it's all in subtitles, but I love it. It's like
is
yeah,
it documentary or a series?
it's a movie, but it's
Okay.
pretty full on. And
The
it's
City of God.
the City of God. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to watch
I'll,
that. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I can definitely watch that.
I'll send it to you.
What?
It's pretty wild.
It's out of Brazil.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, Brazil gangs are.
yeah,
I remember I did a book on gangs, prison gangs, and some of the prison gangs in Brazil are out of control.
yeah,
Out of control. They have no control of the prison system. They
yeah,
just take over.
yeah,
Riots all the time. They kill each other. It is rough.
yeah,
If you're an American or foreigner locked abroad, I don't know if you
yeah.
ever see that show on Nat Geo, Locked Up Abroad.
No,
Foreigners get locked up abroad in like Latin America or Africa or Asia or somewhere. Not
yeah.
good.
No.
Not good, man.
Another one over there is good. I've watched is called Elite Squad. And it's one and two, and it's like the police, and they set up special, like sort of almost like military police, like special forces.
Hmm.
And normally like a sequel is not as good as the first movie. It's a movie where the sequel I think is even better than the
Oh, really?
first. Yeah,
What's it called?
Elite Squad.
Elite Squad. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, check that out as well.
No, there's a lot of stuff out there too. And you know what I also enjoyed? I watched it. I like documentaries. So we talked about that one. I found fascinating Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we talked about the Nazis. His dad was a Nazi,
Wow.
Schwarzenegger. Yeah. And just listening how his early upbringing in Austria, post-World War II Austria, and how he saw his family members broken,
Yeah,
couldn't believe they had lost the war, coming back as broken men, and how families had to suffer with their depression, their alcoholism, him being brought up. He had allegedly come almost like an abusive home, right?
wow.
And what ended up becoming one of the biggest names in Hollywood, right? From
Yeah,
that environment, having a dream, Mr. World himself, right?
yeah,
Becoming the ultimate bodybuilder himself, Muscle Beach himself, becomes the biggest name actor to governor of California.
yeah.
I think that's an inspirational story. But
Oh,
he does
definitely.
mess he does
Yeah,
mess up. He has had that affair with his maid, right?
yeah.
Housekeeper. He has a kid while his wife is there in the house too. But she's a Kennedy. She's
Yeah.
from the Kennedy clan, and she backed him up a Republican.
Wow.
That's interesting. I think you should look Schwarzenegger's life fascinating. I
Yeah,
found that life fascinating, and so hey, we put that out there. I think a lot of good stuff here, man. So been
yeah.
busy with a lot of stuff. Been working more books. Are you working on a book too? I know you say you want to get back into writing.
Yeah, I've been wouldn't say a book. I was starting off writing a comic with another he's more of a comedian, but we're gonna work together and try and put in a comic together. I think it's
Oh, are
like
you?
something different, yeah.
Cool.
But I'll also been writing a couple of short stories, but nothing solid yet. Just bits and pieces of different themes. So
Nice.
I'm trying to
Just
find my
start writing,
way.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I did. Just write, and something would click, and you keep on editing, and you have
yeah,
fun with it, and it's also makes you think a lot too, which I kind of like. It
yeah,
gets all the creative juices out, right?
yeah,
I
for
kind of like
sure.
that with the articles too, because I kind of they're like a chapter in a book, right? I
Yeah,
do about 500, 600 words, so I kind of like that. I crank it out, people read it,
yeah,
they comment on this. So I've been doing a lot of these different articles everywhere. So, and then I just had an interesting show on Patriot TV with
yeah.
Jason Burmis. very popular show, and talking about politics. And he said that article caught his attention.
Yep.
Not even a 34 count indictment can stop the Trump train. So
Yep.
I think a lot of people agree with that. It's going to be fascinating. Will Trump, July 11th, will Trump be dressed in all orange, sitting in the can and winning the presidential election? Maybe.
It's going to be
People might be saying,
interesting.
hey, yeah, they'll say, oh, this is a political witch hunt. Puts them all over the top. And they say, you know what? We're going to teach the system a lesson. Don't weaponize the system because that's what you see in other countries, banana republics. And we don't want that here.
Yep. Oh, 100%. Definitely.
Very good, man. And hopefully we do some more of those videos. I think that was pretty cool. They're short
Yeah,
videos.
that'll be cool. I'd like to do some more.
Yeah, I think people, if you haven't seen it, folks, go check out Thomas's channel on you have it mostly on YouTube, but you also have it on TikTok and
Yeah.
Rumble.
Yeah. Bit everywhere.
Bit everywhere, right? Right.
Yep.
And I always try to put them on my Facebook page. And folks, if you don't know, you can always follow me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and of course I'm on Amazon exclusively with my books, talking about everything from true crime, organized crime, my autobiography. I think ATF Undercover. It's also available on Audible. I know Thomas, you read some of my books. I appreciate some of your reviews.
Yep.
Psycho Killers.
That's a great
Makes
one.
you think
Yeah.
twice, right? Makes you
Yeah.
think twice. We've had some doozies from the Dahmers, the Caseys, the
Yep.
Bundys. I mean, I talked about all those and others, the lesser known ones. Unbelievable. Pedro Lopez, the monster of the Andes himself. People think he's the most prolific serial killer of all from South America. 300 plus indigenous children and women.
Wow.
Awful, awful. And he could still be alive. He could still be alive.
Yeah.
That's just it's just
That's
interesting.
scary.
Yeah, no, no, no. They're out there. Psycho killers. And I'm doing another one's coming up, Tyrants and Killers. That's
Yep.
going to be an Audible. Shout out to Rick Fonts on that one. He's a professional voice actor. Helped me on that. Hopefully, I have it out next maybe next month. I'm
Yep.
trying. We're almost there at the finish line. And the most dangerous crime syndicates of our time, an
Yep.
8 hour listen. That's a pretty good one. Talking about, like I said, the mafia, all the different mafia families, the one percenter groups, the Hells Angels, the Outlaws, the Mongols, other groups there, Yakuza, street gangs, prison gangs,
Bit of
all those types.
everything.
So yeah, so I think it's good. It gives you a good feel for it. And then if you like it, you can go down that rabbit hole some more.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, man. I think too bad. I think I forwarded you a few of them, but sometimes you can't listen to them. But
Yeah.
we'll try. We'll keep on trying.
Yeah, send me some more. I'll make some more clips.
Nice. Sounds good, Thomas. Sounds really good, man.
That'd be
Anything
awesome.
else you think, or anything you want to ask me or anything?
Yeah, we covered. We covered Hitler, um, Jessica Watson.
Yeah, I can't forget that it was almost like 100,000 people at Sydney Harbor when she came in. That was awesome. Well, I've been there. I went to Sydney Opera House back in 1990. I remember, walking all around that area. I was in Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra, and then it was in New Zealand and Fiji playing tennis, meeting great people and stuff. So I always have fond memories of.
Yep.
I love going to the zoos and seeing the kangaroos and the
Yeah.
koalas and everything you don't see in America. Sometimes you see out there.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be very
I think
cool.
one thing I did. Have you ever been to the Outback? Go like these remote areas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. You have to do it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's
Yep.
something you go out there but it can get really scorching hot, right?
Yep. Yeah,
The
very
temperature can
hot.
be, yeah. So you gotta be prepared. Like anything else, you gotta be a good camper. You gotta get ready. You don't know
Yep.
what you can encounter.
Yeah, you gotta have all your gear, the right gear and equipment.
Yes, yes, for sure, and plenty of water. That's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it gets really hot over there. This especially where I live.
You
So
live in the west side, right?
yeah, yeah, it
Nice,
gets really
nice.
hot over here.
Yeah, never been to western side of Australia. Only on
Yeah,
the eastern side. But
yeah,
I wouldn't mind exploring the
yeah,
whole thing,
yeah. You have to
which is
come visit.
really cool. I didn't realize, I saw a documentary, like watching those, how big the salties get out there, huh?
Yeah, they're really big.
I saw a show, Final Affliction, on YouTube. Tragedy, man. Some people not knowing the areas not to swim in Australia,
Yeah,
and the salties get them.
yeah, it's crazy. They're huge.
They're monsters. They're
Yeah.
monsters. Yeah. Did you ever? I know we like history. We talked about the USS Indianapolis on one of our earlier shows. So we're
Ah,
talking about World War II. when the Japanese torpedoed and the shark consumed
Yep.
a lot of the sailors, right? It was awful. You got tiger shark, everything. It was a shark frenzy
Yep.
out there. But there was one in a little island in Asia by the Japanese at the end of the war where they were stranded on an island where they were consumed by salties, by crocs. You ever see that one?
No.
I'll forward you that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll,
unbelievable.
that's crazy.
Only a few survived at the end when they turned themselves in. They,
Yep.
they, they were, I think, over 100 something. And the Crocs, they were smart. And it's scary how smart they were. Some of them were trying to hide up in trees, right?
Yep.
See, the Crocs would use their big tails and knock and break the trees down.
Yep.
And then knock them down, and they were attack and consume them. So it was a nasty croc frenzy. I'll
Yeah.
get you all that. I forget the name of the tragedy there. It's on Final Affliction, and that's how I remember that because I said I've never seen a croc frenzy like that before.
Yep. Damn, I'll definitely watch that one.
Yeah, I'll send it to you so you can look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
I enjoy our shows.
Yep.
We've done this one. This is number 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. How much
Yep.
longer are you gonna do the shows?
I think I'm about halfway now, so
You're gonna do 12 seasons?
yeah.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
might
Yeah, I
do a
look forward to it.
bonus one at the end.
Yeah, why not? If you're having fun
Yeah.
with it, keep on rolling. Whatever,
Yeah.
if you have passion, you get good guests. And I've seen a lot of your shows, and of course I'll forward anybody that I can get you out
Yep.
there. And I,
Yeah.
I keep on meeting more and more people. It's like the network out there. It's impressive out there. You meet and network a lot, and people have fascinating stories to tell.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's awesome. I love doing it.
Yeah, and then I've taken on this whole different world now, where I'm getting more and more involved in community activism. I get involved in with politics. and get involved. It's like you wear many hats. I lived
Yep.
that one life, right? I
Yep.
didn't look like this. I didn't sound like this. I had a big beard. I had long hair. Mi English broken y todo, and I come from Cuba. All that, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm doing shows with you, Thomas, in Australia, shows in Britain, it shows in Canada, you all over the US, and
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So
Also, always love it when you come on. It's like always a good chat.
yeah, man, that's what it's all about. It's exchanging ideas, and I never would have met you because
Yep.
you're all the way in Australia or down under, and I'm all the way out here. But through Facebook and shows, people start networking and meeting each other. I think that's a
Yeah.
great thing about this is people get to talk to each other and communicate where they never ever would have. And a lot of times you can text each other all the time, which we do all the time,
Yeah. It's
right?
cool. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. We have a little time change, but we deal with it.
Yeah. Make it work. It's perfect. Yeah. No, it's good. I always like, yeah, when I talk to you, and it's good when we message each other, and it's cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely recommend it, folks. If you're watching, reach out to Thomas. You have a good story to tell, reach out to Thomas for
Yeah.
sure. And if you're watching, you want to put something out, let me know. I'll be more happy to do a show with you too. If you have a
Yeah.
popular podcast and you're looking, I do a lot. I think I've done over 200 some odd shows already, at least, Thomas, maybe
It's
300.
crazy.
I've lost count a long time ago. And I know you've had some people I had from Matt Cox. Shout out to Matt Cox, William
Yeah.
Steele, Bill Stacks, Hollywood Wade, right? You got Hollywood Wade coming
Yeah.
out. I
Yep.
think
He's
with
come.
with Wade, I've done I would say at least 10 shows, maybe 12 shows with
Wow.
him, maybe more. Yeah, we had one that we were doing monthly called Behind the Serial Killer, based on my book
Yep.
on psycho killers and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and
He's a
we've
good
done a few
guy.
shows on that too. Yeah, 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 yeah. And a fascinating story he has to tell too.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
charged for murder, this close. I mean,
Yep.
years that hang over your head. That's tough. That is
Yeah.
tough.
He would have went
Mm.
through hell.
That's unreal, unreal. But those are kind of people I never would have met him. And
Yeah.
we met in person in Charleston when I was visiting out there. He came out and saw me, and we had lunch. We had a beer together. He met my family, so that was pretty
Wow.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it works, man. Good people you make. That's a cool
Yeah.
thing about it. Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
then
He's
then with
really
William
cool.
Steele, then I'm also a big proponent on rehabilitation,
Yep.
and Bill has changed his life around, right? And we've been
Yep.
doing a show for a year and a half. So trying to get because we don't want people going back to the same lifestyle,
Yeah.
the same circle, right? And it's good to empower people to say, you know what, just like Bill Stacks,
Yep.
I've done a lot of shows with him. You're rooting for guys to get their lives, to change their life around. Matt Cox, another guy, he had
Yeah.
some serious time, right?
Yeah,
And now
like
he's doing a
13
lot of shows,
years.
getting very popular. I think I've done like 4 shows with him, and he's getting a few shows with us too.
Mm.
So it's you're hoping these guys and you're rooting for them to get their lives together and change their lives around. And I like doing the shows, and then you get a perspective from both ends.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good networking, like you said. Like I
I think
like Matt
so. I
Cox
think
as
so.
well. He actually told me to get a new setup.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it. I like the setup. I like how it
yeah,
looks. Even though I did like your hats and everything else in the back too, though.
yeah. That was cool. Yeah,
Yeah, you had your books in there too. I remember that.
yeah, yeah. Good
Did you
memory.
you were in I remember you had one that was what was it? Star Wars? Yeah, some stuff Boba Fett
Yeah,
or something?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
cool series too.
I like it.
Did you see the series on Disney Plus?
Yes, I just last night I just interviewed someone who worked on the original Star Wars as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did all the set decorating and he was the second director for two of the movies. And
The
he
second
built
director behind Lucas, huh?
yeah, he
George
so
Lucas.
he said they would shoot at the same time. Lucas would do one part, he'd do the other part, and he built the first lightsaber. He built all the props and stuff.
That is very cool. How'd you get a hold of him?
I was just like looking at some of the like they got like the Comic-Con, or I don't know if they got that over there, but there's some pages and they like have all those actors or people from the
Oh,
movies go
yeah.
and fans go. I've
You
just
reached
seen
out
it.
to him?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've never been to one of the shows, but I was just seeing it on Instagram. I was like, oh, who's this guy? He's popping up a fair bit on some of the Star Wars ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I reached out and yeah, took a little while to set up, but
Oh, I did? Okay, cool.
yeah,
Cool. Cool. Yeah, sometimes I've enjoyed something. You've had some decent names, so that's pretty cool, Tom's.
yeah,
Especially with Sopranos,
yeah,
comedians, actors, right? You got
yeah,
guys like myself in law enforcement who become writers
yeah,
and now podcasters, videocasters, and whatever else. It becomes community activists. Hopefully, finishing off on this point here with Lamar Burks, we can do the right thing for this guy and get the attention that we need. And you can look up his story, Lamar Burks, and check it out. Possible wrongful conviction of Houston. So out of the guy's name was Perry, who was murdered. Perry. It's sad, and that's why Tainted Badges, when I wrote the article, was about that, my experience, and how it shames those. It's shameful behavior, and you hate to see that in law enforcement because 99% of the guys do the job by the book and do it right, and the 1%ers ruin it.
yeah. Don't be that 1%.
Yeah, and we're not talking about bikers either.
Yeah, yeah. I
And you guys call
appreciate
them
it.
bikies. You call them
Bike,
bikies over there.
yeah, bikies. Yeah, they
Bikies with
call
the
them bike.
bikers. The 1%ers, and we have, I mean, you got some big names out there, the Banditos, the Jokers, and
Hells
other,
Angels.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
HAs, yeah, yeah. So a real interesting book if you like that stuff on Sonny Barger,
yep,
you know, full throttle riding with the Hells Angels. So
yep.
interesting reads, stuff out there, and then of course you can do a deeper dive if you like the material.
Yeah, for sure. Go check out Ignacio's books. He's
Thank you,
got
man.
heaps of them. You must be nearly getting close to 100 now.
Yeah, I changed. I was going to keep on going, but I hit 80 and I started going with the articles, and
Yeah,
I'm getting really popular with that. So that helps. So I put on my Facebook page. If you don't see it, I put a lot of them on my Facebook page so you can
yep.
read along with them. And Tainted Badges, if you want to read more on Lamar Burks,
Okay.
and look out for it. And if the Houston Chronicle picks up on this op-ed piece, which I'm involved with with Peter, I can't remember his last name. Schuster, not Schuster, Peter, yeah, I forgot his name. He's former United States attorney from Eastern District of Louisiana. Big name to have involved. I'm hoping we generate some more
Yeah.
attention for this.
Sounds like you're doing the right thing.
I try, man, much as I can. Not easy,
Yeah,
but you always try, right?
yeah, 100%.
All right,
Um,
Thomas. Well, it's good
appreciate you
job,
coming
man.
on, man. Thanks.
Every time, anytime. I enjoy doing the shows with you. We're talking about many things from hope the family's doing well, everything's doing well, and your little
Yeah,
one had a birthday. Congratulations on that. Enjoy it.
yeah. Thank you.
All
It's
righty.
been a busy week. Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, man. And we got Father's Day coming in the United States, so happy Father's Day to everybody around the world.
Yeah,
Sunday
you
is
too.
Father's Day here in the US.
Yeah, back at yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Thomas. Take care of yourself. Be
Thanks, man.
safe.
You too. Bye.